Hello and welcome back to Railway Empire 2. When we left off, we had finished setting up our new layout. Just a slight tweak on what we started out with, as I went a little bit overboard perhaps with our main line on the east coast. We have a broken train to fix though, the one running from Route Rest up to Albany there, and we've got some adjustments to make on the Boston to Albany line. We are also going to be heading into our personnel and setting that up, as we have enough trains to sort of make use of that. It's possibly a little too early, as a lot of our trains are still running empty. However, we do have quite a few full trains now, and our cities are growing. Boston and Albany rapidly, and that's gonna start filling our trains. First off, broken line, this one, we never set it back up, but it does allow me to demonstrate how to hunt down a broken line if you're aware of it. It should eventually alert you, I hope, that the train doesn't have a destination. The one we are interested in is the one we had running from Albany down to this warehouse that we demolished. It no longer has a destination. So let's bring up the rail lines. Fortunately, it begins with an A, and we have them listed by name. And as you can see, Albany to nowhere. Thankfully, it's a little easier to find issues in Railway Empire 2 compared to the predecessor, as we have lines as opposed to every train being its own line. We've only got one line with two trains on. But it's also early days. There we go. It's got a question mark next to it. It's not showing on the map though, which would have been handy. But yes, the rail line is incomplete. We are still storing beer on it, which is a little interesting. Will it keep that beer? It's still earmarked for a city. We've got beer going to Portland, Bangor, where else? Yeah, Portland and Bangor, which would make sense as it's heading to this, or it was this warehouse. I'm intrigued. Edit rail line. Let's set up the warehouse. We're going to run two trains on this as well, so we've got a few changes to make to it, regardless of it being broken before. So I'm going to stick Route Rest as the start of the route, so that we can add a second train to it, as well as modify what we bring back to Albany. We do not want to bring back lumber. The reason for that is we have a lumber yard up there, don't we? A forestry or a nursery. And so, given the way freight works, that mechanic, we don't want to be taking it from this warehouse. Instead, we would like to take it from a local supply. I think that's everything set up. We're going to add as a second train. Our second train should hopefully appear down at this end when we hit play. We currently have it paused, as it's I'd like to get this fixed before we move on. Now, we've got another issue. Well, okay, not an issue, but it's not optimal. And that is, we now have freight trains that run through the station. We've only got one on there at the moment. We may double up on that, because I would like to change these two mixed services to only carry passengers, so that our trains stopping by the sugar also pick up all the freight. Let's edit the rail line, and let's change this one to express. There we go. That has now shifted all of our freight, although it has kept it on, which is lovely. But it has shifted all of our freight to this line here. And given that, it might be a good idea to pop into here, freight only, and give this one two trains, as we are going to be carrying goods back and forwards, as well as picking up some sugar on the way. But as we saw, sitting there waiting just for sugar is not ideal. They're sat around doing nothing for too long. We still have it up in Cox Station, but that's not too bad, and there's not much we can do about that until Bangor grows. So next thing we need to do, because we removed the ability to pick up wood at our warehouse, we're going to slot in here somewhere. In fact, Let's not make it somewhere, but instead make it ideal. We'll bring up the contour lines, and our station is sitting on that one up there, which might not work. So we'll just go down a little bit. It shouldn't be too terrible. We just need our tracks to miss, so our station building can actually sit up a little further. There we go. Let's try that there. Since we do get full refunds, it shouldn't matter too much. We'll try and sit at 0%, but it might not matter once we get up to this point anyway. Let's connect into our existing track. We're not going to pop into that track. We're going to keep these separated, as we're going to shift our grain across as well and have a dedicated freight platform. That is okay, isn't it? Yeah, we've only got a 3% grade up there. I'm only going to use one platform, so it's only going to cost us 96,000. We are building an extra platform in Albany. Let's get you set. Let's add our second platform up here, and this is where we can queue up our trains later. If we can get a decent speed, that'll do. We'll stick us, similar to what we did before, a 2-track gridiron. So we have 2 separate 2-track gridirons heading into Albany. We're going to set up our signalling up this end, and that will allow us to pick a platform once we get to the actual station. Now we can change this, and we'll slide in to our new freight platforms. Don't mind the slowdown, it's still pretty quick. Get you in there, and then we'll re-add our gridiron. Let's double check that our signalling is still fully done, which it isn't, which could cause a little confusion. We don't address that. There we go. We are re-signaled, and we have a connection at both ends of our new platforms. New rail line. We are going to take some wood into Albany direct. Wood direct. Let's make sure we are waiting until full. It will give us an X, no doubt, but it's better than spending extra money or wasting money on fuel and maintenance. Let's get us a John Bull on there. Accept that. And is that everything? I think so. We're good to go, aren't we? What is this? Your train line runs on long sections. Doesn't matter. That is by design. Thank you very much. It's talking about our single track here. But since we only have one train, more than a double track at the station entrance is not really worth it. We've got something similar going on here as well. Okay, so that's all set up now. We've got an extra train running in. We are waiting until full. We are delivering logs. Very close, aren't we? There, so it will make the most money. Before we move on, let's just double check. Have we reached Milkland yet? Not yet. Oh, we haven't actually completed any of these yet. Although that escalated quickly. Our total passengers is over 1,000, and we're about to get this. So yes, I would like to set this up before all of that happens. Personnel. I'm going to throw a sledgehammer at this, and I absolutely do prefer this over the original, because while at the beginning it's fun, it gets a little bit too micromanagey as you've got a massive network. This way, it's pretty much set it and forget it. And the reason I said we're going to throw a sledgehammer at it is we're going to find out what the maximum is. The key numbers we're looking at, or the key information we're looking at, is total cost per week. We want to keep an eye on that number, and this down here, the efficiency and what the bonus gives us. So, sledgehammer time. This is what I mean by sledgehammer. Let's throw all these up to max. We've just thrown that one up to 200%. This reduces the maintenance requirements of your locomotives by 41%. And that's just at 200% on our training, and didn't cost us a great deal either. We've only gone up to 4.4k there. The other cheap one would be employee welfare. If we boost that, there we go. We're up to 125% efficiency, which gives us 50% reduced maintenance requirements. That's lovely. Possibly we don't need to do any more than that. It's only going to cost us 5,000. The sledgehammer approach would be to max all these out, which, since we know this is 200 and 120, if we pushed all of these to max, and then you can bring this down as well, that would cost us 13,559 per week as opposed to 4,000, so nearly 10,000 more per week. Rough. However, this number hasn't changed down in our efficiency figure. So what we can do is get all of this back. There we go, 125% efficiency. This one here gives you 10% on welfare, I believe. I'm not going to use it. I can't really see any benefit to using it. This is the maximum we're ever going to get, 50%. And at only 5,000, it's not that much extra, is it? Obviously, that's going to go up a little more as we get more and more lines running, but the benefits outweigh the costs. And of course, we can do the same with the stoker here. Let's try 200%, and let's push this one up to 120. It looks to be a similar sort of thing, doesn't it? If we bring that down, it's not going to change it any further. So yeah, efficiency of 125% increases the maximum speed of all of your locomotives by 12%. We're paying only a little bit more on our wages per week. Isn't that wonderful? This is something you definitely want to take advantage of, but once we've set this for a playthrough, we're done. And if, like me, you walk into another room in your house and forget why you've gone there, just jot down your favourite numbers here. No doubt someone will come up with the best cost ratio here. Share your findings down in the comments if you have toyed with this a lot. But this one seems nice and simple, doesn't it? 200%, 120% on welfare, gives us 125% efficiency. Now we have train personnel. Let's try the same trick we have been using to see if we can get it up to 125% efficiency. Now that is 200% on training and 120 on employee welfare. It gives us an extra couple of people. So we're at 109% position filled. Our quality is at 141.4%. But this will increase the popularity of your trains and thus the ticket price by 10%. So there we go. Yep, passenger income is going to be increased by 10%. Sort of negates a good portion, or 2/3 of our issues that we've got with the Professor, where we lose 15%, I think, from ticket revenue. And our final one is our security guard that used to only affect freight. However, it now affects mail. And again, we're going to go with the 200% up there on our training, and we're going to go with 120% on our welfare. A little more pricey on our outgoings, but what it does do is increase the security of freight and mail, and therefore we're now getting 10% increased revenue from that as well. You can always just pop this to 6 hours to see if it pushes it any further. That has stayed at 125%, even though we changed the work hours. The lower the work hours, the happier people will be. It starts to get into negative. If we just pop that up a couple, you'll see we made them a little bit grumpy. But you could balance it out this way as well. So yeah, it's up to you how you tweak that. Again, share your numbers if you've come up with a cheaper solution than I have. It was a little bit, it got us the maximum. It didn't cost us too much more. Our final one is the saboteur. I don't usually get involved with the AI. I concentrate on my own network. Maybe we'll toy with this at some point. But for now, that is our staffing situation sorted. Everybody at 125%. Less breakdowns. That's good, isn't it? That's what we need. We can hit play. We have set up our staff. We have set up new lines. I do want to check before we move on. Where is the banking? That one. Second dot from the end. We can indeed take another bond out. It was mentioned in the comments in the previous episode, or the one before that, that you do indeed get a second bond. Just early on, you're limited to one. As our company value increased, so the amount of bonds we could issue increased. So we've actually got nearly 750,000 that we can take out, which we might do. I think I'd prefer to leave it sitting in there, as we've got to start thinking about buying industries in Albany, no doubt. Yeah, because that's growing rapidly, and Boston. They are pricey, and I'd prefer to buy them than have the AI do it, because down at Albany, it looks a good place, doesn't it, to have another cloth manufacturer, which means we don't necessarily have to take cloth backwards and forwards, and maybe we can switch that for clothing. We might not even need clothing, because we could have a clothing network up this end and keep distribution short, and then we'll take another clothing area up this way. What's up with you? You're complaining. Oh no, you're waiting to spawn, aren't you? I think. Are you waiting to spawn? Yeah, waiting to be deployed. Yeah, well, just wait. It doesn't matter. I don't know where you're waiting to be deployed. You've got 2 free tracks here. What's up with you? Silly sausage. Yeah, we've got no other trains around there. We'll just leave it waiting, unless that's the train on the way back there. Are you the train?
What our rails can do for a city is quite unique. A marvel of modern technology.
Well, we have completed a task, and no surprise at all, it has reached 30,000 citizens in Albany, and we fulfilled that on June 22nd, 1830. The actual target for that was 1832, so it's quite clear that we don't have gold ticks yet, and so we don't need to worry, just get the green ticks. Although, the sooner you do it, no doubt you're going to get more points for it. And we do want to sort of aim for a higher score, but at the same time, I am trying to explore the new mechanics in the game and then share them with you. So we're probably not the most efficient playthrough of the first chapter of the campaign. There we go, our train is off. Didn't take too long. It might have been waiting to space itself out with the other one, which is really cool if that is the case. In the original, they would bunch up given the random breakdown, so if they would wait, that is kind of ideal. Should we get Syracuse hooked up as our next task? We want to push this as hard as possible, don't we? And we want to get as many passengers shifted, and that means more stations as well as the growing cities. And since we've got that bond in our back pocket, we can leave it there just in case Albany and or Boston or any of these guys grow, and then we can build our own industry there. Let's build us. We're going to go with maybe a double track to start with and just expand from that point, as we've got Buffalo as well to think about. Having more passengers is going to be useful. What's the lay of the land like? We head down, obviously, into the river there. There's something missing, isn't there? Up that end, or around here. There's no Niagara Falls. There was one in the previous version on this area of the map, but that's fine. Not important to gameplay, just would have been nice to have it there. Let's draw a rough outline, I guess, and then go from there. Yeah, we'll just connect it all the way. We don't want to be going in there. We can slide in up here because we can make use of our existing supply tower. And that is obviously not how we're going to build that. We do not want a tunnel that's going to cost us 1.3 million nearly. I mean, in the late game, I guess you could do that, but that is pricey, isn't it? Let's bring you around the edge here. What colour are we sitting on? We're actually down a bit. So if we raise that up, we can avoid the tunnel, is what I'm hoping. There we go. That's about as far as we need to go there. That's reduced the cost of our bridge a little bit as well. I tweaked it a little bit. I brought it further away from our hill there, or mountain, whatever it is. And we've got a decent sized bridge, and our grades are not too terrible. A little bit cheaper as well. 158,000 or 159,000 nearly. Let's build you. We have almost spent all of... No, we have spent all of our money. Let's get a double track in there. How much do we need to complete that? We'll need 168,000. I don't know what happened there. You can have more than one track in planning. You can plan up to 5 different routes. I never saw that before. Isn't that fantastic? I mean, we can't afford anything at the moment, and I don't know what was going on there. But that's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, 1 of 5 track planning. So you could sort of set up a route you want to do and then build it as money becomes available. That's all right, isn't it? Kind of handy. There we go. We've got a kind of expensive route, but it looks lovely with our cutting that we've got going there. If there is a quarry anywhere on this map, we must be spending a fortune there, given the amount of stone we've got along the sides of our cuttings. So we need to wait for a bit of money so that we can keep that bond in our back pocket. I would rather not spend it. We are making plenty of money. Obviously, we've just pushed our wages up a touch, but we are going to gain from the benefits we saw. We are going to see an increase in mail, passengers and freight, aren't we? The income from those. Our trains should break down a little less. I don't know what the other one was. but yeah. Oh yeah, and the speed of our locomotives. They've got a bit more power, so they can handle grades a little better, which is great. One of our research points, did we grab it? Yes, we have this one. Leaf spring suspension will be our next point we spend, which we're not far off. And that will increase the speed around corners, so that's going to help us no end as well. Just tweaks our lines a little bit. There we go. We've already got 110,000. We were in the negative briefly, but we're making so much money now from our lines that it's not a big deal. We should have enough soon. Yeah, that's going up pretty rapidly, isn't it? It's lovely. I put it on fast forward. How are we doing on our task? That is also going up rapidly. Everything is going up rapidly. What do we have here? Train has been waiting for a free track for some time. That's because you've chosen the wrong platform to go in, you silly sausage. That's actually not too bad. The issue we've got here is, other than it being a little bit silly that it's choosing that track instead of this track, this setup won't work as planned just yet. As you can see here, we're already taking goods, but you can diagnose issues like this. It's going into the same platform. Let's just change this line for now and set this on 2, because we already have 2 on there, and we'll do the same with that leg as well. We'll confirm that and we'll allow our train to leave with just 2 sugar on it. 2's probably enough anyway. We'll keep an eye on it. It should allow that train to go into the wrong platform regardless. So yeah, you really needed to choose this one. What's the point in having all this fancy setup if you choose the wrong platform? Anyway, that shouldn't be an issue now. We have enough money to finish off our track build, and then we can set up a new passenger service. Let's build you 168,000. We just have enough money for the supply tower as well. We'll stick you somewhere close to the middle, be around about there somewhere. And we'll also set up our signalling or direction of travel. And we'll need our gridirons at both stations. Yes, this one. We're going to keep these separate for now, I think. We've already got it set on to 2. We may as well align it a little bit. Beautiful. And then we'll wait for enough money so that we can set up I'm going to say a mixed goods service, because we do have the warehouse, don't we, in Albany. Yeah. Not that it's showing that unless we click on freight or something. So let's build a new rail line. There we go. Now it's showing. We have grain. Corn is going to be coming the other way, but cloth at the moment needs to come from... cloth needs to come from the East Coast, doesn't it? And meat, we have no meat down here. So it's going to be primarily meat, as we'll set up its own grain eventually. So definitely want an automatic train here. We're going to run out of Albany into Syracuse there. And we'll stick our John Bull on. We'll leave it on automatic. And as you can see, we can take grain, corn, beer, even meat and cloth. Right, but we need 18,620. I'm going to play it while we're in this screen so that we can click on that as soon as it becomes available. The funds, that is. There we go. Gotcha. So we've got another train running, a new train, and now we can improve our cornering speed by 10%. Perfect timing. Look at that. Marvelous. All our trains are going to corner just that little bit better. And overall, that's going to help, isn't it? We've already given them a bit more power. They can handle grades a little better. And now they can get round those corners a lot better as well. Yep, we're waiting to spawn there. That is fine. It's going to take a little while. We've got 2 trains. This one is filling. What else are you doing? Increasing distance. There you go. It even tells us they do indeed space themselves out. I like that a lot better than them just going whenever they felt like it. Because what you'd end up with is trains just sat around doing nothing or being empty. So, brilliant. This is the first time I've seen Railway Empire use automatic spacing. That is beautiful. It does hold up your trains in your station a little bit, but it shouldn't do once they've spaced themselves out to the appropriate distance. But if you ever see a train hanging around and you're a little confused as to why they are doing that, then just check this little information window under the route name, I believe that is, yeah, and it'll tell you what your train is doing. And in that case, it was waiting for a little bit more space between its friend on the line. I don't think that would have been possible in the original, in its predecessor, as trains were individual lines. Okay, Albany, what do you need? Do you need milk yet? Because that would be a nice setup. Not until 35,000. We don't have the money for this, unfortunately. So, you have it. We're not even close. No. We could take a bond out, but I'd prefer to buy a business than save on innovation points. No, it's fine. You can have it. I mean, it would have been nice to push up the price anyway, but I don't know how much money actually affects the AI at all. So another line we've got to consider now is buffalo. And we can also bring in some more grain and corn. This grain would be better suited to go into buffalo, perhaps, along with the corn heading all the way up to the Albany warehouse there, but it's going to be pricey. We could maybe stay on this side for the freight and, in fact, pass through that station or by the side of it. We could create a through track and dictate which platforms the grain train uses. How much money are we making? There we go. We've made 69,000 already on our lovely farm there. How much are we making over at our cattle? We're empty, guys. We're going to actually need to upgrade this. Oh, look at the profit margin there. 172.8 thousand. That's impressive. We're spending a bit on our logs because there's not much demand for it. Eventually we'll be able to get those sawmills underway and that will change. So yeah, it's costing us a bit, but we've got enough going on that it's paying for that in the early game. So it's really up to you whether you want to do that. We don't need a maintenance station or maintenance building on the Franklin stop at our wood, as we have one in Albany, I believe. Maintenance depot, there we go. Was built in 1830, which is this year. Well, we've got a bit more money in the bank. That's kind of nice. Do we want to perhaps use that money to improve our industry here? We've got a bit waiting for us. It might be a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to upgrade it. I don't know. Our train's on the way back, but we do have to take all of these goodies from here as well. How are we doing on our task? 3,000 of 4,800. A lot set up today, mainly the staff. We're making quite a bit more money from them, aren't we? Shall we set up another line here, but we can head out of that station into that line. Fairly cheap, isn't it? Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll only double track that heading into the main line and just use a single platform for now. We can probably do something similar as our sugar down here and run freight trains through there. No, actually, I take it back, because grain for Albany and indeed for Syracuse there is going to be in high demand. What we need to do is just keep buffing this up and maybe have multiple trains and sort out our station later on. Let's get we don't need a gridiron. No, let's just set up our direction of travel. And it did it first time. That's nice. We need to set up another supply tower because our other one's over there. So we're going to pop that one on that side. And then we can have some more grain delivery from the farm we own into Syracuse there, which is going to be for their basic demand and as their own beer making facilities. Brewery, I believe they're called. One train, freight only. Confirm that. There we go. Beautiful. We have another train running. Buffalo's going to come into play sooner rather than later, isn't it? And that means our corn can come into play. In fact, should we set that up quickly? Just as an outline so we know what we're doing. Do we have any cities to travel? We do. We have London over there. We're not really going to go out of that side of the city though, are we? That'd be a bit rough. Well, we might be able to get across there. I think I'd prefer to go across at the shorter distance, perhaps. Well, maybe when we can afford it, we'll go the other way. We'll try and get as far away from the bank there as possible. There we go. Get you in. Let's see what sort of setup this is going to be. We can head over that way, can't we? Yeah, let's head over there. We're going to have to cross the river no matter what. And then we can come in up that end. It'll be the other side, won't it? No, it will be that side. Bit right angly in places. That's a bit sharp. But we're saying max speed all the way, so I'll take it. In fact, we can build it now. How much to double track it? 123k. That's because we're building one new platform, aren't we? We've already got one in Syracuse. Let's wait for that then, and then we'll set up a bonus line. I wasn't expecting to set up Buffalo today. Alright guys, we have the funds. I'm going to set that up, and then we're going to set up the direction of travel, and we're going to set up the gridirons in both stations, at the end of both stations, Syracuse and Buffalo. Choose a locomotive. Do I want mixed goods? Not for this one. Let's go express. And the reason being, we've only got beer that we can pick up because we're not connected to Albany's warehouse. Get you running. And we'll get on board that one for our cab ride at the end. Alright guys, we're on the way to Buffalo on our brand new line, one I wasn't expecting to get in today. When we come back, we should be ready to go as far as our next task. And also, we need to put a supply tower on here because we couldn't afford it at the time, but that shouldn't take long. I love that you can see wildlife just walking around in the distance there. A few deer were walking around, weren't they? That's nice. A lot done though, wasn't there today? We got our stuff sorted, and that's helping out our entire network, and we can just leave that there. Again, if you've got a better setup for your staff and it's all a bit cheaper than mine, I will gladly borrow those settings. So thank you in advance, or unless that is the best, and then we'll run with that. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that one today. And in fact, I'm enjoying this first chapter of the campaign. Only a few minor issues, but we are figuring it out as we go along. I'll leave you on board, and until next time, take care.